Hey there. All right. It is 6 o'clock. All right. Are y'all ready? We are obviously on live. I am so excited to be here with you guys again. We're going to give folks a chance to get logged in and to chime in and let us know that they are here. There are people joining us, I see. Hi there. So first off, I know that I always kind of start this way. I am going to get the link for that workbook that we have been using over the last few weeks to kind of really map out our game plan for getting our businesses started off the ground, moving in the right direction. And I want to remind you guys about that workbook. So I want to make sure we can talk about it. You can take a look at it. You can see it. There it is. There's that workbook. I want to give you guys a chance to go out and get it. I am going to add the link to the workbook right in the comments so you know exactly where to get it from. Because you're going to want to download that. I'm sorry, I'm like talking, but I'm excited about today's topic. Today's topic happens to be one that I am pretty decent at, but I didn't start out that way. I really became decent at it after training myself. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about my story, a little bit about my issues with time, and how I really did have to get control of them as an entrepreneur in order to be successful. But you know what I came to realize is, as I implemented these tactics and these things, I'm just trying to get my hair together, sorry y'all. As I implemented these tactics and these things from an entrepreneurial perspective, they really did begin to impact the rest of my life, because my life is extremely busy. And I know, sometimes entrepreneurs wear that term busy as a badge of honor. I do not think it's a badge of honor. I don't think it's something that you deserve extra points for. I think it's kind of the antithesis of what entrepreneurship is really supposed to be about, because we start our businesses not to create more busy for ourselves, but to actually experience lifestyle freedom and having more free time. And I realized very early on the stuff that I'm going to share with you guys today. And I think I'm going to get a little personal with you and talk a little bit about how it's impacted my whole life. So before we get into that, though, I want to make sure that I give people a chance to get on, and that I also put this workbook in our chat, because you are going to want this workbook. It talks about some of the stuff, works through some of the mindset stuff that we're going to be talking about right now, and you're going to want this workbook if you don't already have it. If you didn't get a chance to get the last couple of lives, my actual last live is going to be next week, and it's going to be the last one really in this series. Not saying that it's going to be my last one ever. I actually love doing these. At the beginning, I thought, do I love doing these? These are crazy, but I've actually come and grown to love them, so I'm going to keep doing them. Just going to go back to our regular Tuesday how-to Tuesdays and Facts Fridays for a while, and then come back and kind of do some live. So I guess if you guys are on and you want to do or hear about a specific topic that you want me to kind of take head on live, put those in the comments. I just added that workbook for you guys in those comments. And if you don't get a chance to click on it in the comments in the live chat, it will also be in the comments down below the actual video itself. So welcome, say hi. Who do we got on? Where you from? Where you at? Hopefully you're not driving. But my team and I are excited to get on the questions. I actually have been getting quite a few questions. Hi, how are you? Ask Another Natural. Good to see you. Make sure you got your workbook. Put the link in there. Hopefully you got it. That's funny. It kind of looks like in that workbook that I don't really have bottoms on, I suppose, huh? Anyway, this workbook is actually the bomb. If you don't have it, you should get it at least while it's free. Because I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm kind of contemplating whether or not I'm gonna keep it free, because it is almost 30 pages of real, true, honest to God worksheets, tips and tools, and you guys working through the side hustle to entrepreneurial freedom and all the stuff that we've been talking about the last few weeks. So make sure you get this planning guide, because I've actually been told by a couple of people, and you can get mad at them if you want to, but they're like, I cannot believe that you gave that away for free. I would at least charge $20 for it, because it is an amazing workbook. And if it was on Amazon, I guess that's how much it would be. I don't know where the 20 bucks came from, but make sure you grab it. You get your copy, and we're going to get started, because I want to make sure that I am cognizant of time, that I give everybody a chance to ask some questions, that we allow for some time at the end. And I don't know about you guys, but it has been one of those weeks. It has been really busy for me. I actually had the honor and the pleasure of doing a women's empowerment workshop out of town. Just got back into town like a few hours ago, and wanted to make sure that I was here with you guys live. Part of the reason why I didn't do it Wednesday was because I was actually at the conference and had a blast, but I am exhausted. If you've ever done anything live from a workshop perspective, you know that it can be completely draining emotionally for people. So I want to make sure that we can dive in and talk about what we are going to be talking about today, and that is how to master time, how to make time, how to have time, how to love time, but most importantly, really addressing what I see being one of the biggest reasons why people sometimes have difficulty getting out of the procrastination phase of starting and growing their businesses. And when I say starting and growing, I don't necessarily mean, folks who, are brand new at starting. They don't even have their LLC established. They don't even have an idea. I'm talking about those of us who were like me, who actually had a business and was kind of functioning in that business, or at least thought I was functioning in that business for a couple of years. And that business was really a side gig or a side job for me. And I needed to start it. I needed to make it so that it was driving revenue, so that I could ultimately achieve that dream of no longer working in my other job, my full-time job, and even the side jobs that I had while I was building the business. I wanted to stop doing all that crap and just do my business, my dream. And I found myself in this space where I kept making excuses around the time. Those of you who've watched any of my other videos, sometimes I really did. And a couple of those I got deep in when I started. And also, if you're a part of my mailing list, you have already seen the details of kind of how I started and where I was in my life and kind of what I've experienced. If you haven't seen that video series, I think I send it out in a 4-part video series. It is only available to those folks who are actually on my email list. So if you want the deets, and it talks about my whole story from start to finish, through starting my business, finding out I was pregnant, going through bankruptcy, the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, all the way to where I am right now, and my mindset and my focus for my business into the future. You have to be on the mailing list to get that. So actually, you can click the link. If you download the workbook, you'll actually automatically be added to the mailing list. But you can also go out to my website and add yourself to the mailing list, because honestly, the folks who are on my mailing list get lots of different content and stuff that folks who are not on the mailing list get. So I really want to encourage you to take advantage of that and grab onto that. So in that, I've actually talked about when I first started my business, what was going on in my life. And that's really where I had to begin, because there's several reasons that I see that people delay from truly embarking upon their entrepreneurial journey. And for me, it was the exact same reasons. And I say people because now, as a business coach and working with entrepreneurs specifically who are aspiring to really begin to grow their businesses to a revenue perspective that they can actually quit their full-time jobs, I work with a lot of them. And I also work with entrepreneurs who've been doing it for a few years and their revenue has kind of come to a screeching halt. So they still haven't experienced that freedom, and now they need to actually take it to the next level. And in working with those types of entrepreneurs and being that type of entrepreneur myself, I found so many different reasons to procrastinate. on that business. And the biggest, I think, that I told myself over and over again, and that people tell themselves, is the belief that they just don't have the time to dedicate to actually focusing on the business. I mean, and I get it, because looking at the average day, month, week, year, it's true, right? Time is limited and it is very precious. And each of us are kind of forced to make decisions on a daily basis of what we're going to do with that time that's in that day. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. Sometimes people ask me, do I get more hours than the average person? And the answer is no, I don't get more hours. I have not made a pact with the universe that says, give me an extra 5 hours. I just had to really learn through discipline and some of the stuff I'm getting ready to share with you guys, how to maximize my time, how to utilize my time, how to be stingy with my time, because I am not just an entrepreneur. I'm also a mother. And some of you may not know that out there. I'm actually the mother of 6 children. I've got 6 kids. I've got 2 fur babies. I sit on several nonprofit boards. I sit on several committees. I volunteer. I am a member of an amazing sorority that does a lot of stuff in the community. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. And I run 2 businesses, and I have to do the exact same thing with 24 hours. So I have come to learn the art of maximizing my day, respecting my time, and really no longer making excuses about that time. And that's really what it boils down to. So we're all forced to make those decisions every day, and you get to pick where you dedicate yourself and what you do at that time. And so I think that we can all agree, and tell me if you can agree. Put a yes, I agree in the comments if you agree with this. But time doesn't just magically appear and drop out of the sky, right? I mean, you have to kind of make it happen. You have to kind of do what you got to do. It is what it is. If you agree, type yes, because sometimes I think that people just sit around and say, when I have more time, I'll do this. Or when I have more time, this will happen. Or when I have more time. And I'm looking at them like, when is this win going to happen? I mean, it's as if some out of body experience is going to take place, and all of a sudden your day and life is going to change, and you're going to just have automatically 10 extra hours or 8 extra hours in the day. So if you continue to move in that thought process, like I did in the very beginning of my career, and it happened to be the very beginning of my motherhood journey, I realized that in order for me to, when I have that time, I had to make that time happen. I had to be that time. Yes, absolutely. I agree. It's not going to magically happen. So you've got to make it happen. And I am going to teach you and show you and share with you today how to make it happen. As you guys know, if you've been a CPTV follower, you know that I always had a side hustle. Always, always, always have had a side hustle. Even when I was in college, I had side hustles. Again, if you're on my mailing list, you know the whole story, so I won't get into the details of it. But my side hustles were really at that time businesses, and they were fulfilling my dream, but I always had something else going on. And so I would sit and dream of eventually the side hustle being the only thing that I did. And the reason why I dreamt of that was because I was sick and tired of working for somebody else. I mean, I legitimately would go to work every day with a stomach ache because I felt like I was completely wasting my skills, my talents, and I was never going to get to that lifestyle goal or to that just financial goal, the freedom goal, the calling my own shots goal that I wanted to. So I would literally daydream. And in that dream, I realized that it was always going to be a dream. It was always going to be a figment of my imagination. It was always going to be something that I longed after, until I came to the point where I realized that it would always just be that, a dream, if I didn't make it a priority and commit to making it happen. And I was looking everywhere for inspiration. So I'm hoping that I can be that inspiration for you guys, because if you're struggling with it. Hey, Monique, how are you? Just wanted to give a couple shout outs. And Yes, absolutely. It's not going to just fall out of the sky. So I had to make the commitment to making it happen. So that was really the moment that I realized that if I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I had to start acting like one and managing and prioritizing my time like one. And there is a very distinct difference. There is something very special about an entrepreneur and how they think of time, how they perceive time, how we perceive time. I shouldn't say they, because all of us on here are, right? So, how we perceive time and how the outside world or folks who work for other people and don't necessarily have their own businesses perceive time. So, that was the first thing. I had to act like one, I had to start thinking like one, and I had to start handling my business and my time like one. And there are 6 things that I really had to do in order to see my dream become a reality. And they're still the basis of what I do in order to continue to grow my businesses and to achieve the freedom that I have always dreamt of and that I currently dream of. And I can tell you some of the things that have happened as a result of these 6 things. Number 1, I work for myself. Number 2, perfect example. My daughter has a choir concert coming up, and I can go. It's in my calendar. I go. She has cheer. She is in a dance competition team. I'm a dance mom. They start on Fridays. If the entire dance season I had to put in a PTO request to a boss in order to be able to go and watch and support my daughter as her mother in her dream right now, I would be absolutely devastated and I would feel like less of a parent. And so I knew for myself that if I didn't get my shit together, might be an Asher moment for those of you who've seen other videos. Asher's not in this office with me. He's actually in the other office, but I had to get my shit together in order to make sure that I could be there for the dance competitions and I can be there tomorrow for the choir concert and that I could come and go as I pleased. And so these are the 6 things. All right. So if you guys have your workbooks, you can write them down, you can jot them down. If not, just take some notes. I'm going to go through them for you because they really are game changers. And it's not just about the business. If you employ these 6 things in your life in general, you will find yourself being less burnt out, more empowered, and more serious about your time and what you do with it. Because if you are struggling, I have a feeling that your time is running you and you're not running it, right? So you're not managing your time is managing you. So the first thing I had to do, honestly, guys, was develop a real entrepreneurial mindset. And it is a different mindset than the average Joe. It is a very different mindset, and it includes some very specific things. I had to learn the art of being and staying committed to something. Now, I have worked with clients and even myself in the beginning of my journey from an entrepreneurial perspective. I was a bit of a commitment phobe. I don't even know if that's a real word. So maybe that's a CP word. I have to look that up. I have to maybe ask somebody from my team to look up whether or not to check and see if that's a real word. A commitment phobe, meaning I was afraid of commitment. I mean, I felt like if I commit to something, then, I was never going to be able to get out of it. And I think that kind of stemmed from, again, if you're my mailing list, you already know my story, but I've been married and went through a divorce, and that really messed with my whole concept and perception of commitment, right? It's a word. So I can say commitment phobe. It's 2 words. So I can say commitment phobe. So I was a bit of a commitment phobe, and that 100% being in that space, not dealing with that mindset, just that limiting mindset belief, I was never going to be able to make the commitment to truly seeing my entrepreneurial dream come true. And so that was the first thing, right? With that entrepreneurial mindset, I had to learn the art of committing to something and staying with it. And I start there because if you're not committed to this entrepreneurial journey, this dream, to yourself, to what you deserve, it doesn't matter how many tips and tools I give you with regards to your time, because I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what I did, and you won't do it because you will have the inability to stay committed to something. That is the basis of this entire thing, committing to something. I also had to learn the mindset and shift my mindset into being patient. I still struggle with patience. Anybody who knows me really well knows that I have 0 patience most of the time. But I knew that being an entrepreneur, was going to be a marathon. It wasn't going to be a sprint. And that ties very closely to that commitment, right? If I am committed, then I will be patient because it's not going to happen overnight. If it doesn't happen overnight, I can't give up. I can't quit. I can't, undo everything that I've done and worked for. So I had to learn the art of patience and setting realistic goals for myself, but staying committed to those realistic goals. So the patience, the realistic goals, the commitment was importantly, and most importantly, and this is something that some of you guys out there might be dealing with, and I distinctly remember this like it was yesterday. I had what I like to call a 9 to 5 mind trap. I did. I believed that I would go to work at 9, get off at 5, or go at 8, get off at 4, or whatever the case may be. And after that, I wasn't supposed to be working anymore. I was supposed to be done. I was supposed to be chilling. I was supposed to be relaxing. I was supposed to be wasting my time, whatever I was supposed to be doing. I had been trained by society, by my previous employers, by corporate America, whatever you want to call it. I had been trained to believe that outside of 9 to 5, I shouldn't be doing anything work related. And I had that mind trap. And then I realized that as an entrepreneur, there was going to be no such thing. I'm going to do a long silent pause. That's what I do when I'm making presentations and I want people to hear what I'm saying. There will be no such thing. There is no such thing as a 9 to 5 when you're an entrepreneur. You work until you get it done. In your first handful of years, you are going to be working until you get it done because you're going to be making mistakes. You're going to be learning from those mistakes. You're going to be trying new things. You're going to be trying to make money. You're going to be investing business money back into your business. And it's not going to all fit into a 9 to 5 time frame. I still don't stick to a 9 to 5 time frame. Those of you who know me know that I'm not a 9 to 5 person. As a business owner, it never stops. And when you start working for yourself, you're going to be even that much more motivated, especially when it's your full-time gig, to get out of that 9 to 5 mind trap. Because when you do, you'll realize that there are hours in the day to work from 6 to midnight. There are hours in the day to work from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. There are extra hours. So you just got to realize that 9 to 5 ain't where it stops. Okay. So that was a big mindset shift. So that's really step number 1. I had to realize that mindset. And again, the 9 to 5 time trap was probably the biggest one for me that I just went over with you. I had to learn that time was going to be fluid for me as an entrepreneur. And honestly, as I was making money, I realized that I enjoyed making my own money and I just wanted to work more to make more money. Because if those of you who have seen a previous video, I think I talk about how money is not the enemy, how money is good, right? Is good. If you think money is good, say, yes, girl. Yes, money is good. So you got to be fluid, right? You got to be fluid with that time. So that was my first thing. I had to get those basic mindset shifts in place and eliminate the limiting beliefs. Then step number 2, I had to learn the art of time management. And when I say learn the art, I mean it. It is a science. There is so much detailed information out there on the art of time management. Actually, in my course, How to Start a Business, I dive really deep in some tried and true strategies and techniques around managing your time. I'm going to share some of those with you right now, but in my course, which I'm going to give a little plug, I'll be launching and opening the doors very, very quickly. Yes, money is good, girl. I agree. Yes, I will be launching and opening the doors to that course. It is amazing. And I just went through it to make some tweaks. I'm working on some tweaks to it. And I'm telling you, I get so deep in the woods on this time management thing because there is a science to it. And so I had to begin to recognize that I was in control of my time. I was in control of what occupied it. I was in control of what priorities took place in it. And I was also in control of what I needed to shift and swap out in order to make things happen. And so time management means that you are managing your time and your time is not managing you. You are not reactive to time, right? You are proactive in time. And so it enables you and empowers you to make really good concrete decisions. And so that was really step 2 for me. Do your research until you can get in the course or until you actually get in my course. Just Google time management. There will be tons of resources and tips and tools out there that will give you some good strategies, but there's really a science to it as well. And you really need to understand what that science is. So I had to learn the art of time management and stop being reactive. Step 3, I had to begin to really incorporate a calendar into my life always. Always. My calendar guides my life. If it is anything personal, professional, kids wise, dog wise, goals wise, whatever the case may be, I had to begin to recognize that if I was going to know what was happening and be able to really master what was happening from hour to hour, I had to actually begin to really focus on calendar usage. And that wasn't always something that I did very well, mainly because I guess back in the day, I'm showing my age, but back in the day, calendars were paper. They were these planners. And my very first business, I used to mandate my team. I was hiring like left and right, and I used to mandate my team use a certain type of planner, and we would actually meet and coordinate calendars. But the calendar guided everything. To this day, I meet people who have been entrepreneurs, who want to be entrepreneurs, and do not use a calendar. They, for some reason, think that they're going to remember their appointments in their head, or that they already know what's going on, or they got sticky notes in different places. You have to understand a calendar. Google Calendars is great. If you have a Google or a Gmail account, you actually automatically have a calendar. It will sync with your phone. Everything should go into it. If you looked at my calendar right now, you would see that lunch is even scheduled so that I know to give myself lunch, that wake up, leave work, run, walk, whatever I'm doing from an exercise perspective, it's in my calendar. You have to begin to use your calendar always. I realize and feel like in life, calendar usage is so important that I've actually already begun training my children on calendar usage. Believe it or not, my 14-year-old has been using a calendar because her schedule is pretty crazy. She's been using a calendar for 4 years since she was like 9. She knows how to accept calendar invites. She knows how to extend calendar invites. She doesn't ask me anything about what's going on in her life. She doesn't say, what time is my practice? Where do I have to be? Where am I going? Her locations are everywhere. The phone numbers for who she needs to reach is in there. And it's so awesome because now she trains me on what's going on in her life. She will actually text me in the morning her daily agenda. I've got practice that starts at 3. I get out at 4:30. I need to be picked up. Then I have to go over here. And that's because it's a calendar. So when I get her schedules from her coaches, my assistant actually plugs them into the calendar, and she invites her, my 14-year-old, so that it goes into her calendar. And I am teaching her at a very early age the importance of managing her time. That is how she is able to be in cheerleading, be in choir, volunteer at school, be in competitive dance, study, have a 4.8 grade point average, and manage her time better than I've seen some adults manage their time. And that's because of the use of that calendar. So get used to a calendar. I know there's a lot of professions out there for folks who don't necessarily use a calendar every day. That's no excuse. It's no excuse. I don't care if your job uses it or not. You need to learn how to use it, and you need to begin using it in order to really, really be able to claim your time. You've got to know what's going on in there. So that's really the third thing, using a calendar always. The fourth thing that I had to teach myself how to do, and that I actually incorporate and do right now, is working in time blocks. Now, I actually started working in time blocks, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. It was at the time I had a team of 65 people, and they all had access to me doing things with them, running appointments, doing trainings, going out to client meetings. I had my own stuff I had to do. And so they began to recognize, and I began to train them on what time blocks were available for them to have me be out in the field with them, to go to client meetings. So even right now, if I could do a screen share on this YouTube live, I think I'm going to send some feedback and say, do a screen share. Maybe I'll do it in a Facebook Live. But if I could do a screen share and pull up my calendar, you will see that my calendar is actually sectioned off into blocks, time blocks. And those time blocks are labeled. And in that time block, it's labeled for me to actually do something very specific. So if I've got a list, I've got things going on, I will actually look at my calendar and block off specific points of time in order to be able to do those things. Like for instance, I know that Monday mornings, I've got the time block automatically blocked in my calendar for Monday mornings for my administrative meetings. Those are the time frames that I meet with my admin team, with my management team, whatever meetings come up or don't come up, that's the time block. So whether there's something officially in there or not, Monday mornings, that's what I do. And everyone knows that. And so don't schedule anything else that's not an administrative type of meeting or a leadership or management type of meeting, an operational meeting for my business other than Monday mornings. So that's where I put those in. Every other Friday morning is blocked off for staff meetings, and that's my staff meeting time. Even if that meeting gets pushed off or it doesn't exist for that week, that's the block. So if there isn't an actual meeting, guess what I do during that time frame? Guess. Anybody got some guesses? Yes, I actually work on staff meeting stuff. So no matter what, Friday mornings is staff meeting time. I've got like the third week of every month, Tuesday through Thursday is content time. And I have it blocked off to work on all content. That's my video scripts. That's my blog posts. That's my email newsletters. That's social media quotes. That's anything that my team needs in order to create the brand. I'm the content creator. I write all the copy. I write all that stuff. And that's the time frame that I need. So nobody's allowed to schedule anything in that time frame every single month. You see where I'm going with this? Every single week, Thursdays and Fridays, half of Fridays and most of the day on Thursday is blocked off for coaching calls and strategy calls. So those are blocked off for my coaching clients. When we're jumping on the phone and we're walking through their stuff and I'm completely active and completely listening to them, that's the only thing that I do during that time frame. If I don't have a coaching call scheduled in that time frame, I only work on coaching stuff, whether it's worksheets or lessons or content for my coachees, sending them messages, all of those things, that time is reserved for that. So that's what working in time blocks means. You block off a chunk of time and you dedicate it to a specific topic or item. And during that time, that's all you do. That's where that commitment that I was talking about comes in. And that's where working in that calendar comes in. So time blocks is critical. If you are just starting your business and you've got another job, time blocks are even going to be more important for you because you're going to need to look at your schedule and say, all right, I work Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So every Tuesday from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I am working on business setup. Right? So that's the time frame that you work on your LLC paperwork, your business planning paperwork, setting up your financial systems, getting your communication systems. That's business setup stuff. That's that time frame. And you're going to block it off of your calendar. So guess what happens when your girlfriend calls you and says, hey girl, meet me for happy hour or Tuesday at 5 o'clock or Tuesday at 7 o'clock. That's right. You're going to say, no, I can't meet you because I'm working. I've got to work. Now, yes, it's blocked in there. You have the opportunity to manipulate that block. But if you're committed to really getting your business set up, then Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. is when you're going to do it. And so nobody needs to know that it's fluid and that you can actually change it if you need to, because you're not going to change it because that's your commitment to that time frame, right? Exactly. So if you're starting your business, Tuesdays from 6 to 9, that's business startup. Thursdays from 6 to 9, that's learning. That's your personal development. So let's say you enroll in an online course or you take Cheryl's startup, academy. That's the time frame that you're actually doing your coursework. And then Friday from 6 to 9, that's marketing. That's business marketing time. You've got to put in your calendar those time blocks with those things that you specifically need to do in order to start or grow your business. And you've got to block those time frames off and only do those things in that time frame. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is they might block off a time chunk on a Tuesday afternoon or a Tuesday 6 to 9 and say to themselves, I'm going to work on my business. Okay, great. What exactly are you going to do for your business during that time frame now? Because if you just say, I'm going to work on my business from 6 to 9 on Tuesday, you are going to be all over the place. You're going to be trying to do a little bit of everything as it relates to your business. And guess what happens when you try to do a lot of stuff at the same time? Anybody got any ideas? Nothing happens. Exactly, guys. Nothing happens. So when you're blocking off time to work on your business, block it off for a specific business activity, marketing, organization, research. Be specific so that your mind is aware of exactly what you're going to be working on during that time frame. Don't just say, oh, from 6 to 9, Tuesday through Thursday, I'm going to work on my business. Be more specific and you'll actually get it done. And that brings me to step number 5 that I had to train myself on, guys. And that was allocating a schedule to work on my business. That's those time blocks that I was talking about. I had to commit myself to it. Even though I was working, probably 40 to 45 hours a week for somebody else most of the time, I wasn't going to give them more of myself than I was actually giving to myself. And so every single day, yes, it absolutely took my time from being an 8-hour day to a 12-hour day, 100%. But I had to commit to it. So I knew that in the morning time wasn't great because I'm not a morning person. So I knew in the evenings, and then I allocated every Sunday for time for me to actually be working on my business. Every single evening I worked on my business. I had different time chunks blocked off for things. And then all day Sunday I worked on my business. Well, not all day, probably usually about an 8-hour day. I would actually get up and leave the house and go somewhere. That was what I had to do. And that mandated, again, that calendar, that commitment to that time, that working in those time blocks, understanding the discipline that it was going to require for me to be a time manager was all included in that process. And when I began to do that, guess what happened? Within a year, I was making so much money in my business that I was able to quit my full-time gig and never went back to that full-time gig again, because I made that commitment. I wasn't just waiting for it to fall from the sky. Like you guys just said, yes, right? I wasn't just waiting for time to fall from the sky. I was in control of it. I set a goal and I followed through with that goal. And I was able to make sales. I was able to do all kinds of things because I was committed to that time management piece. It's very, very critical. And the 6th thing that I had to train myself to do, and that I still do to this day, in order to be a master of my time, guys, is that I had to be very stingy with my time. People who work with me or are in my life regularly, or even you guys know if you're a current client or even a friend, or I am crazy about my time. I get pissed off when my time is wasted. I recognize that my time is definitely money, and I'm very, very stingy with it. Now, I should be more stingy than I currently am. I get that feedback a lot from my team. Why are you meeting with them for coffee? Why are you, is it going to do anything? And I still do probably allow too many pick my brain sessions. And don't give me that look. I usually do allow for too many of those, probably. But I feel like well, there's really no buts. I'm not gonna say but. But I said it again. And I get a lot out of those. So, but don't get me wrong, because I am not stingy enough. Sometimes I do get extremely frustrated after I leave something and I feel like it was a big waste of my time. It was a big waste of my time. And so I have learned to be very, very stingy with it. And I mean stingy with everybody. So I'm stingy when it comes to my family. Having access to my day and my time. I'm very stingy when it comes to my children, having very detailed, because when you're a business owner, people will take advantage of what they perceive to be free time because you don't have a boss to answer to, without even respecting the idea that you are the boss. So, you're lying to yourself if your, family thinks that just because you can kind of guide your own calendar and guide your own schedule, that they can take advantage of that schedule. And I had to be very stingy with it and say no. So like now I can be in the middle of the day and getting phone calls out the wazoo from my mom or from my dad or whatever, and I cannot answer it. That is a part of the training, right? I need you to understand that just because something popped into your mind doesn't make it my emergency. There's this great plaque that I need to buy. I only saw it once and it was on like a little boutique, and I should have purchased it, but I think I took a picture of it, and it said, "Your lack of proper planning does not equal my emergency." And I kind of take that and live by it because it requires me to be very stingy with my time. You must eliminate some things in order to have the time that you need to grow your dream. You have to. You are not going to experience that dream if you don't sacrifice something. And most of the time, it's the time and the money that people are dealing with when it comes to really pursuing that next level of their businesses, right? So being stingy with your time is not being selfish. Well, you know what? It's an okay type of selfish, I should say, because it is being selfish, but it's for your own good. It's for what means for something that means a lot to you. And it's going to create a habit in you that helps you understand when your business is booming and you're out there and you're drawing in 6 and 7 figure revenues, your time is going to be even more limited. So start training yourself now on how to manage that time and how to say no. And that in itself is definitely an art form. So that's number 6. I mean, those 6 things are things that I had to train myself on in the beginning, that I work very, very hard to train myself on daily now, that I have to go back and recap just like I'm doing with you guys right now. And those are the things that I really had to make sure that I'm incorporating in order to manage my time. So those are the secrets. Those of you out there who have asked me, Cheryl, how do you do it? How do you have the kids? How do you do this? How do you do that? You seem to always be doing something and you're so productive with it, because I get that a lot too. You're not just running around busy, you're actually getting stuff done. And those are the 6 things to my how. Those are the 6 things to my how. That is how I live my life. That is how I manage my time. So now, I mean, I want to open it up to some questions. If you guys got any specific questions that you want to know, I'm not sure if we've been keeping track of questions as they've already been coming in while I was talking. If I haven't answered them or seen them, I apologize. And again, if you don't get a chance to, if you come up with a question after we are done today, feel free to go ahead and put it in a comment. I obviously get notification on that. I will answer you directly. But any specific questions that you guys have, go ahead and plop them in. And while we are getting those questions in, I'm going to take a look at these over here. My team is gathering questions over there. I want to remind everybody to grab your workbook. There it is. Whenever I do that, the light looks funny. Anyway, there's your workbook. Look how dark I get. Anyway, there's your workbook. Get your Side Hustle to Freedom workbook. It really does work you through all of it. It's a planning guide. It talks about your competition, talks about understanding your dream client. It talks about the mindset that we just went over today. It talks about brainstorming notes on your ideas, you're buying your domain, setting up your marketing. I mean, it's the basic one. You're very welcome, Monique, for the valuable info. You are wonderful as well. Absolutely. I love hearing that feedback. Thank you so much. A lot of time and effort goes into these, and that's because I feel like people out there who are starting their businesses do not need to go through the same rigmarole mistakes that I made. You can cut your time in half if you've got a guide, and I'm here to give you guys that information whenever you need it. So do we have any questions over there? Does that mean I did a really good job at giving you all the details? So don't forget to download your workbook. I mean, I guess we don't have a whole bunch of questions. I just, again, want to say thank you guys and bye to those of you who are on right now. I love you as always. Next week, we will be on live again. And my topic for next week, I believe, is you'll see. I don't think we have the exact topic. I should have had that in front of me, but I don't. I apologize. And then we also have our regular How-To Tuesdays. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ask Another Natural. Thank you. So we have our regular How-To Tuesdays. Tuesdays, CPTV episode is one of my favorites. It is how to find your dream client. And I walk you through understanding your ideal customer avatar, how to break all of that down, the resources and the tools, and how to find them. If you missed yesterday's 2 days ago CPTV episode, it's on social media, and we've got some really good ones coming up where I'm going to dive deep into really the steps to start a business, because my CP Startup Business Academy, that online course that I've been talking to you guys about, that I'm in the process of tweaking, I will be launching it soon. The doors will open very, very soon, and it is what I have done one-on-one in coaching with aspiring entrepreneurs, as well as in group coaching. It is that in one online course. I have been working on it diligently, and all of the stuff that I've gone over in my one-on-one coaching courses with folks, I've actually put into an online format, and it's going to have cool bonuses and cool features and all kinds of stuff. In addition to that, it's going to have some opportunity to do some coaching with me as well in that online course. And that launch date right now is for mid-April, I believe. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But leading up to that, I'm going to continue to give you guys this good content. And I am excited about it. So if you want anything, again, smash that like button. Let me know. Also post in the comment, is there anything at all that as an aspiring or new entrepreneur you want insight on, tips and tools, my strategies, my experiences, my input? Please make sure, as always, you put it in the comments. I have loved being with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll do one last quick question check. Oh, gotcha. One last question check. He was just actually, my team was just showing me some of the topics that we have coming up that I wanted to, I've been getting requests. I'm going to ask while I'm on here. I've been getting requests from people that they want to see a day in the life of my life, I guess, my entrepreneurial journey. And they've been wanting me to actually do a video on a day in the life. My business life, I suppose. I've been struggling with that topic because I am a pretty private person. I know I have a YouTube channel. I get it. I talk a lot about myself, but I've been having difficulty with that. So if that's something that you guys think you want to see as well, let me know. I have gotten some feedback that they would want to see that, like, follow me through a day of meetings and kind of what my average day or week looks like. So I'm contemplating that coming out. But let me know. As always, you can reach me at info@ccpimpact.com. You can also reach me, obviously, in the comments on YouTube. You can reach me on Facebook at CCP Impact, and on IG and LinkedIn at Cheryl C. Perez. And as always, my loves, if you want to make sure that you can get the tips and the tools, the strategies and the systems to grow that dream business that you have always aspired to grow so that you can achieve that lifestyle, financial, and decision-making freedom, tune back in to CPTV. And until next time, my love, I will see you guys next week at the live. Mwah! Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.